Good morning, everybody. And good morning to everybody here, too. I'm on my way to Moab this morning. Over the last 2 days, due to the rapid temperature fluctuations at night, I have slept probably a combined 4 hours. So the moment that there is a coffee shop in view, I am going to raid it. So it looks like the standard speed limit on a Utah interstate is 80 miles an hour. I guess they just figured we're all going to be doing it anyway, might as well make it legal. But now here I am going 85, pushing 90, because this is America. Nobody's ever going to go at the speed limit. I made it to the Cove Fort site, and then found out that it didn't open till 11. So I wasn't about to wait there for an hour, which means now I'm at the Fremont Indian State Park. So they start off with this interesting museum full of dioramas and artifacts, stretching all the way from pioneers back to Clovis peoples. It primarily focuses on the Fremont, which were the group that inhabited this area from around 1 AD to about 1300, and were eventually replaced by the Utes, Paiutes, and other folks we associate with northern Utah. So here's a little diorama of their village up on the hill. And here are dozens of artifacts that were dug up right on this site. They even have this giant pair of obsidian blocks. Sounds like glass. Here's mud from 175 BC containing the imprints of corn, indicating that it was here that long ago. So I can see why these people were able to farm so well. They could actually grow a high calorie density grain. That's very cool. So the weather here has been a little bit weird. It's about 55 degrees in the shade, but the sun is warm enough that it feels about 70. So I've adopted this classic jacket and shorts look so that I can get the best of both worlds. Oh, there's some lines carved into this rock. Little wiggles right there on the right and on the left. There's the ridge the Fremont people lived on top of. Apparently it used to extend a little bit further north, and it was covered with up to about 60 pit houses in varying parts of its existence. It's thought that it would have been warmer than the canyon bottom and a little bit freer of mosquitoes, so they would have gone down off the ridge in order to grow their corn and back up at night in order to live. Also might have been easily defensible. I don't know what kind of war was going on back in that period. There weren't any horse tribes, so you didn't have to worry about things like Comanches riding down on top of you. But it still would have been nice to know that whoever was attacking you was coming uphill. That said, though, why not live on this thing? Okay, so this wall is absolutely littered with images. It might be hard to see on camera, but if you look right there, you can see some mountain goats and some other animal-looking things scratched on top of what seems to be an older, more abstract layer. Up there you can see some other abstract things, and then once again on this wall you see some large pictures that once again seem to have a lot to do with goats. According to some of the signs, it seems like a lot of the more faded abstractions are the oldest, and the actual animal motifs are from the era just before European contact. And apparently, if you move along this wall somewhere, you can actually see pictures of houses that were drawn by Utes that had come into contact with Europeans and knew what their houses looked like. And finally, there are a few that are even clearly scratched by Europeans because they have European motifs. I'll see if I can find some of those too. Look at those two guys right above the bush. So the triangular bodies are apparently a major indicator that these were made by the Fremont people themselves, whereas the goats and the non-triangular human figures were made somewhat later. So as I climb up this small cliff face here, I've run into about a dozen little chipmunks. Or something like a chipmunk. I wonder why I don't see any of them painted anywhere. Although I do see some deer. Fish Lake. Where? So there are a few more complex figures with horns, which apparently are buffalo dancers from the 1800s that are all over these walls. You can tell that they're not Fremont because their bodies are not triangular. I'm gonna go into Hidden Secrets Canyon, though I am really curious what a non-hidden secret would look like. So now I'm up on top of this thing, and I gotta say, it does seem pretty defensible from at least that side. I tripped like 3 times just getting up. Aliens. Oh wow, look at all this stuff. Right beside the trail. So apparently that's a spider web. A few other things that are kind of hard to parse. Some V's, some birds or bird feet. I think that's another goat. And some abstractions further up. And over here, you can barely see it, but carved into this wall, there's faded, actual, like, deep carvings. Wow. This is at the very end of this trail I've been following, so, it was worth it. It also has the best views. And here's something that the map calls the meditation spiral. I'm guessing that these big wooden posts are not Native American, and that makes me wonder if the rest of this thing isn't either. Still kind of neat out here. I guess if I really felt the urge to meditate right now, I might go for a few laps. But as it is, I gotta get a move on. Got a lot more driving to do. Oh, this does not bode well. So the plan was to stop at the Dinosaur Bone Trail, but I'm not sure how that's gonna work if I'm getting poured on. Just like the Grand Canyon, right here the camera decided it wasn't going to accept any more audio. So welcome back to VoiceOver. God, I love leaves. Here I am doing my best to strike that perfect Instagram pose. Oh yeah, let's get another one. Here along the trail I get my first glimpse of dinosaur bones. If I remember correctly, there's one sauropod here in fragments and then one theropod, but I don't remember which is which, and it's hard to tell just looking at the rock. Here's a chunk of sauropod leg bone, like I think it was a femur, and then there's another fragment embedded in the rock. Here's some of his vertebrae. See, there's one. There was another one down here. Little explanation. Another bone fragment. I think this one might have been from the theropod. And all the while, the specter of rain haunts me from a distance. And here's a sauropod rib. You know, as a kid, I always knew that a lot of dinosaur bones came from the Southwest, but to be out there and to see them just sticking out of the rocks here and there for everyone to see, it's something else. And on this side, there are more fragments of the theropods. Apparently there are a couple, actually, embedded in the rock here. I think that this is a very narrow leg bone of some kind, so definitely a lot smaller than the sauropod. Here are some bones that stick orthogonally out of the ground, so you can actually see their structure, circular and where the marrow would have been. Here's a gap where there used to be a bone, but somebody has taken it. The park has a very brutal sign warning about not taking the bones. And here is an actual pack rat nest. Up until this trip, I'd thought that that was just a term my mom used to get me to clean my room when I was a kid. But no, they're both a real thing, and they're present here at the Dinosaur Bone Trail. And as if I hadn't gotten enough petrified wood this trip, there is a petrified log sticking right out at, well, kinda right in from me. See, there it is, and in beautiful preservation. Finally, I finished the trail and got ready to head back to the car, and somehow the camera decided now was the time for the sound to come back to life. So everything else I've seen come down this road has been either a Jeep or an ATV, So it is just an incredible testament to how well built Teslas are that this thing has made it, because I thought it was going to get shaken to pieces at some points there. Woo! All right, onward and upward. I just cannot wait to get back to concrete.